What is going on, guys? Dinner vs. All Gaming with my review of Sword Art Online Season 2, Episode 11. And this episode right here, to me, it was definitely enjoyable, even though it was so heavy filled with dialogue. I actually like the episode a lot, and we did make some pretty good progress in the story as well. But the episode itself, it picks off from last week where we have Kirito and Sinon. They're of course still in the cave, and we see now that Sinon here was asking Kirito how he was able to move on, or kind of forget about what he did. But of course that right there it's not the case at all, because Kirito is now coming back kind of haunted by those three that he did kill in Sword Art Online. And we see now that he told Sinon they was kind of necessary to remember this, and to always kind of keep thinking about it, because that right there it is impossible to forget. But if you can accept that and move on with your life, you won't be haunted by your past. So even though Sinon is still suffering about what she did as a kid, it is possible that Kirito is helping her get over this. But it seems that even though that could be the case, it's Sinon here has some more trauma thrown on her life right now in this episode. But luckily once again Kirito was there. But that right there I'm getting to a little bit later on. And so right now, right now they're talking in the cave, still trying to figure out, what exactly they could get, what can they do. And we noticed something, very weird about Defgun. And Kirito, pointed this out. Why didn't he use his handgun, on Kirito like he did on Sinon? Because we saw that when he had the chance to shoot him, because he had a good shot, he chose to use his sniper. And that right there, what was a good thing to point out. And we also learned that every time Defgun pulled out his handgun, he was aiming at Sinon and not Kirito. So she was always his target. And so they're trying to figure out how they're doing this. And that right there is when it clicks, when Kirito sees this two-tailed lizard walking around. So it turns out there are two Defguns. There's one in the game, and there's also one in the real world. And so we see now that the first two that Defgun had killed, they lived alone, and they had the very, very old lock, so they were kind of easy to break into. And Sinon lives alone as well, and she also had this very old lock. And so because of that, it was easy for the other Defgun to get in there and and kill them. So that right there, they are at least figuring out the riddle of Defgun, because I have been wondering how in the world is he doing this, because no matter how you spin it, it is definitely impossible to kill somebody with a gun in the game, because your heart is not involved in that at all. It's your mind. And these two, they died of a heart failure. But of course, like Kirito said, it is not that common. It's not that uncommon for those extreme players in games, to die from starving and and not taking care of themselves. So that made a lot of sense. And so now because of that, and especially when we learned that Sinon has an old lock as well, Kirito tells her that it's possible that the other Defgun is now in her home. And so we see in Sinon's mind, because that right there is what I'm going to assume was happening, and not in real life. But in her head now, she was imagining the other Defgun, whoever it is, standing over her, and he had this needle, some poison or drug, I guess. And so we see now that when it's Defgun was about to inject her with whatever that was, we have Sinon here freaking out, and she already has post-traumatic syndrome. So this right here wasn't helping at all, and you just see it kind of torturing her a little bit. But luckily Kirito was there, and he did kind of calm her down some. But then we go back to LAO, while Kirito was taking care of her. We go to LAO, and we see that the gang is all there. And we also have this one guy. Now, I forgot if his name is Chris Sight or Chris Height, something like that. But this guy is pretty much the one that hired Kirito to go into GGO in the first place. So it's that guy. And when he gets there, apparently him and I forgot the name. Well, no, I think it was Liz. Apparently Liz apparently these two are close because she was like scolding him for like being so late, but this guy was like running as fast as he can. But like pretty much Asuna, she had wanted him to like spill the beans about what was going on here because obviously Kirito was in danger. But at first he had tried to kind of lie about it and like play it off. But we have you or whatever her name, Kirito's and Asuna's daughter. She was able to like dig up all this dirt about Death Gun, and she had found out about what happened, and so now that like just got covered was like kind of blown here. He had no choice but to like tell them the truth, and luckily he did come out and tell them, which is like definitely good because he should have done that. And so now that they know, we have Asuna. She actually plans on going to where Kirito is because even though he is protected because he is in the hospital where like most players went for rehab, we see now that like she wants to go there as well. And they even give the guy some like new information about how this guy was like part of a laughing coffin, and we even have Klein, saying that he wished Kirito would have told him because he would have gone there as well. But it's just like the little girl said, I forgot her name, but she was saying that like Kirito, wouldn't do that because if there was like any moment of danger, he would not want to get them involved. And so we have Leifa. She also made a comment about how Kirito, looked so scared when they were like eating breakfast, but it was Liz that like hit the nail on the head, where she said that like Kirito is protecting someone that is probably supposed to be his like enemy right now. And so we do go back to Kirito and Sinon, and I do wonder how much time has actually passed when they were in the cave, because we saw now that the sun was setting. But eventually Kirito and Sinon, they like coming with this plan where Kirito here, he would be a decoy and he would like lure out Death Gun, like during the next satellite scan, so that way he would come out and confront Kirito. And we have Sinon here, going in a long distance because she's a sniper, obviously. And so we see now that like when they were talking, we see that like one of these cameras that were like showing the tournament in the real world or in the other games, they were actually in the cave with them. And I do wonder how come we did not see Asuna's and the others' reaction to that, because from when we saw them, that camera right there, it was showing the outside of the cave and not the inside. Because I would have loved to see Asuna's reaction to Sinon being so close to Kirito, and she even and Sinon, he even made a joke about that. If there was someone that like Kirito did not want to see this, because that right there would have been so hilarious. But to be honest though, like Kirito actually understands Death Gun a little bit, because Death Gun is a player that was like so used to killing in SAO that like he wants to feel like that again, with the player killing. It's just like how Kirito still like a swordsman, and that right there is why he's a sword in like every game, even in GGO where they mainly use guns. And not only that, we have Sinon as well, who also feel like a sniper, even though after her traumatic past. But even after all that, this guy definitely has to be stopped, and they also want to get rid of the second Death Gun, because we saw now that when Sinon was like freaking out early on, we see now that like her heart rate was like going way too fast, and if that would have continued, then the game would have automatically logged her out. And if that would have happened, she would have been in danger because she would have saw the second Death Gun, and that right there what would have made him kill her without waiting for his partner, because that right there would not be good at all. But now that the planet, set in motion, we have Kirito walking out the cave, and we have Sinon, looking at him with this like sad look in her eye. So it is possible that like she is worried about him. But that right there was like pretty much the episode. But like I said, even though it was so dialogue heavy, to me it was still a good episode. I did enjoy it a lot, and we also got some like pretty good story progression as well. And it seems that next week we could have a possible unmasking of Death's Gun, because we now know the name that he like logged in with, like Sturban or something like that. I'm pretty sure that right there is just like a different arrangement of his real name. So hopefully Kirito, will figure that out, and hopefully we will get to see who he is. But for the episode, I'm going to give it probably a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. And I will see you all next time.